I focus on small companies trading on secondary exchanges such as TSXV or Canadian Stock Exchange OTC. Why? Because I have very little competition, right? Hedge funds are in the big names. Retail investors are chasing GameStop, AMC, and crypto.
My next guest is Mariusz Skonieczny of Microcap Explosions. Mariusz, welcome.
Thank you very much for having me.
You bet. Mariusz, you're part of our new sort of branch of coverage where we're covering other influencers in the small cap, micro cap space. And we stumbled across you because you are involved with a company that we are involved with, Voxtur Analytics. So let's start with a conversation about your publication, Microcap Explosions. How do investors find you? How do they get involved?
Microcapexplosions.com. Just go there, open up your wallet, sign up, and we can get started.
I love it. Shameless self-promotion. Okay, so tell us about the kinds of companies that you feature, how you become initially introduced to them through, let's use Voxtur as an example.
Well, I focus on small companies trading on secondary exchanges such as TSXV or Canadian Stock Exchange OTC. Why? Because I have very little competition, right? Hedge funds are in the big names. Retail investors are chasing GameStop, AMC, and crypto. So I don't have a lot of competition. And the way I found Voxtur is I went through every single company one by one on TSXV. And I found Voxtur. It was iLookabout at that time. And because I have a background in real estate, I used to be a real estate appraiser, it just caught my interest. But I found it around 2019, but I wasn't interested. When I looked at it, I'm like, the appraisers are never going to change. The banks are never going to change. But then when COVID hit, I went back to it and I was like, okay, they're going to have to change and they're going to have to adapt to new technology. I called Gary and talked for 2 hours. You know, after talking to him, he completely sold me. I did more of the work, and that's how it all started. Right.
So do you invest in the companies that you feature?
Absolutely. It's hard for me to talk about or be passionate about the companies unless I have my skin in the game.
Yeah, sure. I'm with you there. Okay, so then what other companies are you tracking right now? Give us an overview of them and what's the compelling investment thesis behind them?
So right now on the public YouTube channel, I talk about 3 companies. So Voxtur is one, Oroco and Globex. So Oroco, it's a copper play. They have an amazing asset in Mexico. It's been tied up for 20 years in a legal dispute over a title issue, and they resolved that. Through Microcap Explosions, we helped raise some money to bring the deposit to 4311 compliant because the deposit was tied up in a legal battle for 20 years. It had like 93 holes drilled, so we know copper is there. We know it's a huge deposit, but holes drilled 20 years ago don't meet the current 43101 standards, so they have to reconfirm the historicals, and that's what the money that we helped raise was for. And you know, as they're drilling right now and reporting fantastic results, meaning that yes, they are reconfirming the historical resource or estimates, and hopefully it will even expand, because in the past 20 years ago they were looking for a completely different deposit, so they didn't drill it deep enough. All the holes finish in ore, which means that there's much more deeper that they can go. And then there's another section, Brasilis, which wasn't explored in the past, and it offers a really interesting blue sky potential. So that's on Oroco. Copper. We all know copper is hot, electrification, so I don't have to say too much about that because we all know about what's going on in the world. And then Globex is an interesting situation because they offer a private email and messaging application. So think of Proton on the mail side, and think of Signal on the messaging side. But both Proton and Signal, think of them as a Ford, and think of Globex as a Ferrari with its secure application. And So it's about emails that are truly secure and private, no data mining, no big tech, it's all independent. The entire infrastructure is hosted in Switzerland. And in the US, half of the people hate the current president, half of the people loved, the prior president. So we have a situation where, conservatives in the US, they think that without making a judgment, I don't care about politics, but I'm just saying that half of the people in the US think that the big brother is watching them, they're data mining them, they want to take their privacy of speech. So those kinds of people are signing up in droves for secure, for the reasons that they want to be protected and all things like that. So this is a good summary of the things I am involved in.
Sure. Okay. Does the current market environment, where today we're expecting the Fed to come out and sort of give an indication, are they going to raise rates by 25 basis points? Will it be more? Will it be less? Does this play into your investment thesis over the long term? What's happening at the Fed level?
Well, if you think about a company like Voxtur is going to do well no matter what interest rates do. If interest rates are low, there's a lot of refinancing. If interest rates are high, there's a lot of foreclosures, and Voxtur has a foreclosure business. So, and the same thing for the other two companies. Oroco, are we going to abandon copper or electrification just because interest rates are going to go up? No, that's going to be fine. The same thing on the private and secure communications. Are the conservatives in the US all of a sudden going to fall in love with Google and big tech and trust the government just because interest rates go up? No. So these opportunities that I'm involved in, they have nothing to do with what the Fed is going to do. But from my point of view, you see, people like to find excuses for why they should panic and sell their stocks. We're talking about when I own a stock, I am an owner in a business, okay? And I'm an owner for many, many years. So during those years that I own those businesses, we can have a new president, good president, bad president. We're going to have a fight with China and now whatever Russia is doing. There's going to be so many things going on during the time that I own my stocks. I can't bother myself with all these little things that, scare everybody else.
Sure. So you talked about Voxtur the other day in a video, basically getting huge market share in the desktop appraisal space, and that Fannie Mae had basically approved the use of desktop appraisals as opposed to physical traditional appraisals. So tell me why that's so important for Voxtur.
Well, think about this. You're a real estate appraiser, and you have to do a full-blown appraisal, which means going, visiting the property, measuring the property, and at the same time, you have to do some work on the computer to prepare, find comparables, write the report. I would say that when you do a full-blown appraisal, 80% of your work is visiting and inspecting the property. It's time-consuming, it's labor-intensive. You can't really speed it up. You cannot, text yourself or email yourself to the property. You have to drive there. You have to set an appointment. You have to see it. You have to measure it. So that's 80% of your work. Then the other 20% is on the computer, okay? So if that's the scenario, 80-20, you don't have very much incentive to improve your technology because it's only going to improve 20% of your work. But when Fannie Mae changes the rules and says desktop appraisals can be used for purchase transactions, that's a game changer, because now you don't have to go and visit the property. Your entire work is on the computer. So now if 100% of your work is on a computer, now you have the incentive to make sure your technology is great. You have the incentive to make sure that all the data feeds are the best, because if you don't, your competitor will have that, and they will be able to do more appraisals than you. So now, if the appraisers were, questioning, oh, should we invest in technology? They have no choice now. They're going to have to invest in technology, or they will fall behind. And I'm happy to hear that, because I'm an owner in a company that solves your problem and makes you faster. So that's why it's so important for Voxtur.
Sure. So how do you feel about their largest competitor in the United States, Doma Holdings, which seems to be better capitalized and has, you know, some really marquee names on their board of directors, most notably Larry Summers, former Treasury Secretary.
When it comes to the appraisal side of the business with their technology, the ANow platform, they are just absolutely the best. The competitors cannot even come close to this. And the sign up of UWM, United Wholesale Mortgage, is a hint why they have the best technology, because UWM prides itself with using the best technology on the market in order to be competitive and steal market share. So if UWM chose them instead of a competitor, we should pay attention. And I bet, and I don't have a proof for it, I bet that all the biggest players right now, whether it's Rocket or JP Morgan or Bank of America, I bet all of these people are looking into this platform, if not already testing the platform. Because if they don't, then UWM will continue eating their lunch.
Yeah, you bet. All right, Mariusz, well, that's a great introduction to yourself and your publication. Really wish you the best and thank you for your time today.
Thank you very much.
We'll have you back soon. Bye for now.